Do you feel like it's hard to reach out beyond that word of mouth circle of referrals and try to connect with an audience that hasn't really heard of you yet? Just so that you don't have to be dependent on word of mouth referrals all the time and kind of generate your own leads. That would be like the next step to grow the business, right? Well, let's talk about that, because I feel like there's a misunderstanding as to the root cause of why it's hard for web designers like you and me to expand beyond just your referral network and kind of reach an audience of people that haven't met you yet. And we'll talk about what the root cause is. And I think in the process of doing that, we'll kind of discover two things. One, exactly what you need to do to fix it. And two, why it's a bad idea to position your agency as like a one-stop shop for all of someone's digital marketing needs. Because I feel like that's the structure of a web agency that is dying. And we'll talk about exactly why and how to fix it. But to kind of set the stage, let's look at the landscape of the web design market right now. I think that if you look at it, there's kind of three sections, or at least one way to look at it is to kind of chunk it up into three sections. One section are the business owners that just want to build their own websites. They don't want to spend any money. They just need a little quick thing that they can do. And Wix and platforms like that, just like the do-it-yourself platforms, kind of serve that audience. And then, at the other end of the spectrum, you have more established businesses where they hire like high-end marketing agencies for $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 projects and up. And it's like that kind of handles all of those people. But then that leaves this really broad middle of everybody else where they don't have the 50 grand for the high-end like marketing agencies, but they don't want to build a site themselves either. So wouldn't it be great if people like you and me could serve that audience and come up with an offer that's more compelling than just hiring a random freelancer from somewhere? And I think that sort of sets the stage for a little bit of a trap. And here's what it is. A lot of people think, well, if I could create a better offer, then I could attract more clients and kind of win business away from just random freelancers and Facebook groups and stuff like that into your business, because you have a better offer for basically three reasons. The quality is better because maybe you've been building websites for years and you've got a lot of experience. You're not just starting out. So the quality is higher. The trust factor is there because don't you feel like if you can get into a meeting with somebody that there's 75, 80, 90% chance that they'll probably work with you, right? Because you're right there and the trust factor in that meeting is really kind of amped up compared to just hiring some random person off the internet or whatever. And this is sustainability. Like after you launch the site, you'll be there to help support them and hosting, maintenance, updates, whatever they need. You're not just going to run away and do like a one and done project. You'll be there for the long haul for whatever they need. And so because of that, because of the quality, the trust, and the sustainability, that's a really compelling reason why it's better to work with you than it is to just randomly hire somebody off the internet. So you already have the better offer. The problem isn't creating the better offer. The problem is actually reaching the target audience, right? Because objectively, your offer is already better than hiring random people for one and done jobs. But the challenge becomes, how do you reach the target audience? And you think to yourself, well, maybe if I could do marketing that's better than other web agencies and freelancers, then that would be great. And maybe a temptation would then be to run ads or try to do SEO or something like that for kind of a traditional web agency, which oftentimes is positioned as like a one-stop shop of all of the different services that you know how to offer. But that's where the problem is. The problem isn't how do you create a better offer or how do you win business away from other web designers. The problem is you're competing against huge communities now. So it's not the individual designers that we're trying to run our ads against. We're trying to advertise and market against like Upwork and like Fiverr and Bark and like these larger communities, especially Upwork right now. Like, for example, I was watching football over the weekend, and there was an Upwork ad that came on in front of the NFL game. So, like, how are people like you and me with regular marketing budgets supposed to run ads in front of the NFL games and stuff, right? It's like, you can't do that. It's like the marketing budget is so large that businesses like Upwork have crowded out the space. So that means that the ads are going to be too expensive. Even if you did pay for the ads, your ads are just going to be a little blip here and there. And like the market share, like the mind share of the people looking for web design and digital marketing services that are in that middle zone, they're just going to think, oh, I'll just go to Upwork. And then you think, okay, you're not actually competing against the individual web designers anymore. Now you're competing against the offer that Upwork is making. So remember our triad of reasons to work with you. Well, number one is quality. Well, Upwork kind of guarantees the quality. Like if you're not happy with it, then the Upwork themselves will do something about it. Same thing with the trust. It's like they kind of guarantee the payments and all of that stuff. And then the sustainability isn't really that much of an issue either, because they basically have an unlimited supply of talent. So anytime you need help with anything, you can just keep going back to Upwork. So now our offer is kind of eclipsed by their offer, because they literally are the one-stop shop for all the web design and digital marketing services you could ever think of at the lowest possible prices. So much so that it's almost like this cloud of like locusts that are just like swarming, ready to devour whatever the low-cost project is, right? Some kind of project pops up and they go, and they just get it. And it's like, it's super stressful. And it's not just like that on Upwork. It's that way like in Facebook or anywhere where there's like a large group of like freelance web designers. It's like this frantic cloud of bugs ready to devour the next low-cost project. It's like super bad. Like you wouldn't want to be in that even if you could, because the projects are stressful, the margins are super thin. It's like the race to the bottom. But on top of that, it's almost impossible to compete in a marketing sense, to like reach new people that don't already know you, because you're not competing against the web agencies or the web designers. You're competing against Upwork. So then what do you do? So what's the fix behind all of this? If you're not going to be a one-stop shop and you're not going to compete against Upwork, how do you break free from this problem? And the solution is, instead of just kind of joining this like swarm of locusts devouring low-cost projects, you just move over a little bit into the blue sky area. So I kind of refer to this as the blue theory. It's like you just kind of move over into this blue sky space by pivoting in a way that the communities can't pivot, right? So you go someplace where they can't go, and now you've got blue sky. And an example of that is these large communities, all they can offer is the implementation of digital marketing and web design services, right? Because like their audience is so broad, they can't niche down with a solution and results. All they can offer is implementation of certain skills, right? So the difference is the communities, they're offering essentially implementation of services, whereas you and I, we can niche down and be like, well, let me see if I can solve a specific type of problem, and then create a solution that actually generates the results that my niche audience wants. Right? So instead of implementation, now we're offering business transformation, right? So we're offering something that has a transformative business impact on the client, whereas the implementation strategy of just doing like being the one-stop shop, just doing whatever you're asked to do, it's like you don't know if that's going to have any sort of transformative effect. I mean, it might, but that's not the goal. The goal of implementation is just to deliver a website that makes the client feel happy, like it sort of meets the specs that they gave you. But what if they ask you for the wrong thing? Like, how do they even know, right? It's like the whole point of trying to get more leads and grow the business and all of that stuff. It's like they probably aren't asking for the right thing, right? Because if they were, they probably would already have the results already. You know, it's like if they knew what to do to solve all their problems, why do they still have the problems? And the truth is, they don't know what to do. Like almost all the business owners that I've ever worked with are really bad at marketing, but pretty good at whatever it is that they do. Like I work with a lot of doctors and people in the medical space, and they can have life-changing impact on their clients, but they tend to be really bad at marketing, right? So instead of having the doctor go into Upwork and say, hey, why don't you build a site that looks like this, knowing full well that the implementation might make the client happy, but won't generate the results that they want. Instead, what if you come up with a solution that could be like a done-for-you lead generation system for doctors or for some particular niche, right? And then when you do that, now you have a transformative impact on the clients, because they're not buying the website, they're buying the leads, they're buying the bigger business, they're buying the business transformation, and Upwork can't offer that. All Upwork can offer is the implementation of services. But what you and I can offer are the delivering of results and of actual outcomes, measurable outcomes to businesses. And that's what I refer to as a solution-first agency. And I'll put a link in the description for a whole video workshop to kind of walk you step by step through exactly how that works. So click that, it's totally free. But the other benefit of that is once you start offering results, not only are you going to be attracting better clients, but you also will have much higher margins because you move into value pricing, right? You don't have to just price your hours and then intentionally put a really thin margin on top of your hourly rate. Now you can price your work based on the results, the value of the results. Your margins will be way higher, and I guarantee you will get more clients in a more consistent basis at a much higher price point, doing a more value-based pricing approach. So check out the link in the description for the Solution First Agency Workshop, or check out this next video, and I'll actually walk you through the metrics of a value-priced marketing funnel for your clients. You can see exactly how the math works. So check out the video, and I'll see you over there.